I know exactly why you're here, bro. You're trying to see if this is worth it. 200 bucks? It's a pretty good chunk of change, man. So let's see. Let's go ahead and find out. So we have here the Pepper Cannon. These are about 200 bucks, man. One of the things that you have to look into is going to be the price. It's pretty expensive, but we're here to figure out to see if it's worth it. So let's go ahead and start with what it has, what it doesn't have, and so on and so forth. So in here it has this little cap, right? And what's neat about this thing is that you can go ahead, grind your stuff, and this serves kind of like a little reservoir. I don't know if you can see it, but it's right there. So it serves in here, you know, in case you want to sprinkle some in or whatever. Now the next thing that we're going to talk about is the traditional one. This is the one from HEB. Now let's go ahead and see how this one cuts. Now this one doesn't have any adjustments. Some of them do. Some of them have like this little twist on deal that you can adjust. But let's go ahead and figure this how this one is. It's all right. I mean, I've used it for such a long time that it's whatever to me. You know, this is what I'm used to, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys are used to this type of stuff. Pepper cannon time. I don't have it under the coarse. This is kind of like the medium. So let's go ahead and do the coarse. Now you can go ahead and adjust it right in here. So let's go ahead. There you go. Let's see how that does. Look at that. Simply amazing. And the aroma, man. I mean, if you guys have pepper mills, that's because once you do a fresh cut pepper, it gives you that nice aroma, that freshness. It's just amazing. So it definitely performs. I'll say that. Now, guys, because I really didn't want to pay $200 for this pepper mill. I really didn't, man. It's very expensive. So one of the things that I ended up doing is I picked up this coffee grinder, but it also grinds spices and stuff like that. And basically all you do is you get your spices, coffee, whatever, put it in here, close it down, press the little button, and it grinds everything up. That is fantastic. I use this quite a bit because I mix up a lot of seasonings and everything. I make my own rubs, so on and so forth. So this is pretty amazing. This, I believe, is about $40 or $50. I'll go ahead and leave a link in the description below. But this is pretty awesome. Now, how do they compare between the two? Well, they have two different purposes. Let's go ahead and check them out. Now, the grinder itself is one of the things that I really use quite a bit, man. It's functional, it's amazing. You put a whole bunch of peppercorn in here and it'll do the job just fine. You put it in here, press this little button, starts grinding everything up just fine. It's very good. One of the things is that whenever I'm gonna go ahead and do a brisket or something like that, or my own rub, this is what I'll end up using. I actually ended up using this for the chile de árbol in the video right over here. It's one of those things where if I'm gonna do a brisket or make my own rubs, I'll go ahead and do this and make it that way. If you got a pepper shaker or whatever in the kitchen table or whatever, you can use this, grind it up as fine as you want to, put it into the little shaker, and you're good to go, right? Fantastic. Coffee grinds, peppers, anything that you can think of, this thing will go ahead and do it just fine. So the grinder is amazing. It's very versatile. You can use it for all kinds of things. Why the pepper cannon? Well, I'll go ahead and explain that over to you. There's been so many instances where if I'm saying, say I make a mashed potato, right? I'm not going to go ahead and bust this whole thing out, get the peppercorn, grind it all up, and then use it for the mashed potatoes or for the steak or for something like that. You could grind this up, no problem, put it into a container, and you'll be good to go. The problem with that is that you don't get that fresh aroma, that fresh taste, right? Because it'll go stale after a couple of days or so. So even though you can do it in advance and it'll still have some really good flavor, it doesn't compare to freshly ground pepper. So you get this, boom, 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 no problem, and it does the job what I need to do. If I have a nice steak, go in there, do my thing, grind it up, that's it, no problem. You get the fresh flavor, you get the coarseness that you're wanting, right? Which is one of the reasons why a lot of you guys end up having something like this. either something like this or the McCormick or whichever one, you know, the refillable one. So 9 times out of 10, you guys will end up having something like this. You grind it up, but it takes a while. Boom, 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 boom. You're staying there. And sometimes, you know, after you try out the steak or the mashed potatoes, you notice that it needs a little bit more and you keep pumping. Not with this, man. Now, would I recommend this over this or even over this? Let's go ahead and talk about it just a little bit more. So we're back to square one. Is this thing worth the $200? I think that's up to you to decide. And I say this because I've been doing just fine with the standard pepper mill, right? Sometimes it kind of irks me a little bit because it does take a while. Sometimes I'm having to grind there for quite a bit of time. But one of the things that I'm always doing is having this bad boy right over here, right on tap, grind it up, put it into a little container, and then I use it as I need. For $200, I think this would be better suited if you know someone, you know, and they're a very good friend of yours, and you want to give them as a gift. This is pretty awesome. Having said that, one of my customers ended up sending this to me as a gift. I don't think I would have bought this thing on my own. I really can't see myself spending $200 on this pepper mill. But I will say that if you have the money to go ahead and just say, screw it, I'm gonna go ahead and get me one. It's pretty awesome, man. It's pretty badass. I really like it. I use it a lot. Once you actually get a functional pepper mill like this one that actually works the way that it should, you end up using it a lot more. And I say this because, again, mashed potatoes, boom, 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 no problem, good to go. I don't have to fuss with it or anything like that. If you do not have one of these coffee grinders or whatever, you can still use this, but it's gonna take a little bit of time. Even though it does it quite a bit, it's still gonna take a long time to go ahead and fill up a container of this or whatever size you want. It'll take a bit, so I probably wouldn't use it for that. Steaks, badass. Mashed potatoes, badass. Anything else is pretty awesome. I would not use this for a brisket because it's gonna take a long time. I'd use the grinder for that. That about wraps it up. Short video, I get that. Haven't really had time to make more videos. Just been a little bit busy is all. Anyways, guys, be sure to go ahead and like, subscribe. See you in the next one. Later, guys.